So I do want to thank our audience today, all of our attendees for joining us today. During our last webinar, we asked a poll. We asked our attendees, our clients, what do you think your biggest ERP challenges are? This webinar is addressing those ERP challenges, how to beat them, how to break through those roadblocks in your current ERP, and what your future could look like. So now the top 3 from that poll included integrations and automations, where you're at now, and what could be done with the new technology, scaling, growth. Every company wants to be bigger, wants to be better, but it's our job as the experts to tell you how can you get there. Last but certainly not least, a close tie, performance and reporting. Obviously, reporting, super important between departments, between colleagues, between executives and the management team, but performance. You have to have better performance, otherwise your entire team, your entire company really can't function. So today, we're going to be addressing these universal challenges. We really found that taking this poll and speaking to our clients, speaking with our expert team, so many clients have a lot of the same challenges. Now, how we've been able to mitigate and tackle these challenges has changed dramatically over the last 3, 5, 10, even 20 years. We're going to be talking about these challenges, how they were mitigated right now in your current systems, and then what your future could look like where maybe those challenges don't even exist. I do want to note that while you can't necessarily raise your hand to speak during our webinar, our chat is open throughout the whole webinar. Please drop questions, comments, feedback, concerns, anything that you're thinking into our chat. And if we have time at the end of our webinar, we'll be glad to address those. But if not, don't worry, we will address those directly to you. So Taylor, 15 plus years in the ERP space specifically. Based on your experience, what do you think have been some of the common universal technology constraints that have really impacted scaling and growth and customers' overall processes and performance? What was the challenge of this based upon your past and your present and what that future might look like?
So what's interesting is that thank you, Shannon. I started out with ERPs as a customer. I was in college and handing out my resume door to door when that was something that you could actually do, and took a job offer as the first employee for a startup company. We had no brick and mortar. I also had an offer from another company making more money that was a Fortune 500, right? But essentially, I would have just been doing data entry, one of, hundreds of thousands of employees. And I remember telling my dad, who really was not a fan of this decision, that, hey, like, I'm going to be thrown into the fire here. This is where I get to learn. I'm young. Why not? Why not take this opportunity? So that company is still alive and well today, multi-million-dollar company. They started out just supplying the take-home samples for Department 23 for Home Depot. So the stores would order those little take-home samples, and we would get them from, so we were doing carpet at that time, or they were doing carpet at that time. The stores would order from us in order to replenish. And I was working off of a really simple web-based platform in order to receive those orders called Sterling Web Forms. And of course, we grew exponentially very quickly. So then I had to learn QuickBooks. Then I had to learn a software called Activate. And then we did an SAP implementation, and we actually did two because the first one went awry. And I would be, of course, we moved a lot in this growth, and I'd be scaling this racking in this 40,000 square foot warehouse of these big boxes full of these carpet samples, trying to mitigate and make sure that the numbers were correct. So to Shannon's question, what are some common challenges? And now, of course, this all led to me then doing a global implementation of SAP that integrated with R3, ECC, which is now S4, and then becoming a consultant. And the first thing, of course, is scalability, right? And as Shannon said, how do companies make sure that they can think about future growth? And the first thing is fragmented systems. I've seen this across every implementation, which is not also just a systems issue, it's a people issue too. People need to be talking. I've seen that with every implementation. So fragmented systems, number one, which then also leads to fragmented reporting. Everybody needs to be working from the same set of data. And then something else that I've seen is in a user training. I know this is kind of offhand, but user training, lack of knowledge of the basic systems. So system fragmentation, user training, knowledge of how to use the system. Also, communication. Communication is a big one because we can set up these systems to do what we want all day long, but people need to be communicating as well.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for that answer. I think you're totally right. Everybody needs to know how to use a system, right? Integration, systems, technology is only as good as the people who are using it. And thank you for your expert advice on, going from a customer to an implementation to a solutioner and everything in between.
Thanks, Jim.
Now, again, pulling on that expertise, and I'm sure that you've seen it starting in the SAP space 10, 15 years ago. So many companies deal with intercompany processes as a whole in a lot of different ways. Maybe you have subsidiary companies. Maybe you have to report up to a parent company. Maybe you simply have to receive things in multiple entities, or maybe you operate in branches. So based on your experiences, how have you helped to mitigate the challenge of intercompany processes as a whole in the current ERP space, making sure that that data integrity and that same data set that you mentioned earlier stays intact?
That's been really difficult. So really, it's been about finding custom solutions. For example, the global implementation that I did, wherein it was the headquarters was in Sweden, and they were running what was then R3, and they were implementing Business One at all of the subsidiaries globally. And so these subsidiaries would then be purchasing from the headquarters in Sweden. And so it was me and two other people, insane to think about now, creating these intercompany processes. And we were using B1I to do that. However, that's really difficult, at least as I've seen it with Business One. There really isn't anything that's inherent, out of the box, easy to handle. I know that some add-on companies have. I actually worked with an add-on company to develop a custom solution for a customer a long time ago, in order to do the sort of roll-up financial reporting that you're talking about. And especially now with purchasing from purchasing has become difficult for companies right now, and trying to mitigate that is difficult. And everything has been a workaround with what I've seen with Business One. Now, having just started working in S4, a lot of that is more inherent, set up out of the box, which would have been nice, 10 years ago. But yeah, so there really, it's been a lot of workarounds.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Taylor mentioned, a teaser for a little later in our webinar, we will see and speak to one of our S4 experts a little bit on how this challenge is no longer relevant in your S4 cloud ERP space. This is a perfect segue, though, Taylor, to one of our next questions, customizations. So you spoke to customizations, and everybody knows as soon as they hear the word customization or integration, they think complex, pricey, specialized. What do you think in your experience, and now you've mentioned quite a few instances of different customizations and integrations, what are the risks and trade-offs of customizing your ERP system? And what do you think the newer approach is outside of those traditional legacy kind of approach? What does that look like?
Okay, so I don't know if anyone here, maybe if you don't work in IT, you might not be familiar with this joke, but I've seen it on SNL, and it's been told amongst developers, wherein you've got the one guy who knows, guy or gal, sorry, who knows the customized system for that company, right? And he's the only one who knows that code. And he pretty much rules the roost because he's that one guy. And I've actually seen, it's funny because there's truth in it, right? You customize any system and you customize it too much, it's very difficult to replicate. It's very difficult to build upon. Like we were talking about, this actually goes hand in hand with scalability, right? Like, how can you scale something that only one person knows? And then, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. So customizing the system. Jan, can you repeat your question? I apologize.
No worries. You hit the nail on the head. I will bring up and ask you for a little feedback. So we're mentioning scalability, flexibility. So traditional ERP systems, most of them, not all, but most of them, you need to formally do an upgrade process, for example. It's not an auto push.
Yes.
How do these complex customizations now, while they work wonderfully, how does that affect when you're thinking upgrade, when you're thinking growth? Especially if you look back to, you only have a handful of people who know exactly how to manage it, exactly how to update it.
Okay, so that's, again, it becomes very complicated in that, well, how many add-ons are you running, right? And are those add-ons compatible? Think about it like if you're running an Apple phone, but that's what I have. I know that's not really par for the course with someone who works in IT, but all of your apps have to be up to date with the latest version. And so think about that with your software. If you're running multiple add-on providers, which you can sort of put into the realm of a customized system, they have to be up to date with the latest version. And so even then, that creates another layer of complexity when you're trying to upgrade. And right now, it's not as simple. Even 5-10 years ago, upgrades are happening quickly, right? It's not like you're getting an upgrade every couple of years. Things are being pushed out quickly. Technology is moving quickly. So that overcomplicates things when you have other spokes in the wheel. And then if you have multiple customizations, right? You've got different kinds of fields running different kinds of programs. And then you've got that one guy who knows that one thing. It's multiple layers upon multiple layers, and it's difficult. Disjointed
Yeah, it certainly
systems.
seems
Yeah,
like
yeah.
flexibility, cost effectiveness
Yes.
of our traditional systems is really, the future is doing things faster, doing things better, being more prepared, right?
Right. Right.
Well, that's going to bring us to poll number 2. So, our moderator, if you could pop up our poll number 2, we want a little bit of feedback from our audience here. What do you all think your integration strategy is? Ben and Taylor. Ben, you take this one first. What do you think, past and present, you would think that your integration strategy had been?
Well, as the director of the BTP practice here at VistaView, my response is going to be BTP or dreaming of it. But of the
Perfect
4 options
answer.
on the screen, I've done all 4.
Exactly. Remember, and all of us on this call today, all of our experts, between them, 40 plus years of ERP experience. So we do probably all remember the time when Excel did seem like magic. So I really appreciate that answer on there. Taylor, what's the consensus of our audience?
Okay, so Ben, you're winning out with SAP BTP, dreaming of it, 40%. Then we have middleware. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Custom coding marathons at 30%. Middleware juggling act at 20%. And manual magic and spreadsheets at 10.
Oh boy, still 10%, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm very glad that the majority said BTP. It's like you guys knew where our webinar was going. So Ben, BTP guru, tell us a little bit about BTP and the new era of integration and automations, unifying data, having complex things be simpler, easier to roll out, easier to take with you on the scaling. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, for those who are unfamiliar with BTP or don't know what it is, it's a great SAP buzzword that they put out where they put all of their new and great stuff, from integrations to AI to custom screens, custom programs. As we move to a more clean core system, whether it be by design or S4, a lot of the customizations are going in one place. I say to my customers all the time, if you're dealing with the B1 team or the by design team or the S4 team, they're going to give you the best system they can today. They're going to give you the most up-to-date, best use case SAP system. My team's job on the BTP division is to give you the best system tomorrow. What's tomorrow's problems? What can tomorrow bring? How can we make the system that you've got and you like better? So in answer to your question, the the big piece of this is that 4th bullet point down there, turning complexity into streamlining. That we got 20, 30 people on the call here. There's another 40, 50 that are going to watch this playback later. Out of hundreds and hundreds of customers we sent this out to, the people who've chose to join this call, the people who chose to watch it later, are here because their organizations are getting bigger. I mean, I'm sure there are companies out there that their day-to-day is the same now as it was 10 years ago. They don't need to be here. They don't need to find out what this information is. But for the most of us, we're getting bigger. We have more systems. We have more processes. We have more integrations. And having more systems and more integrations and more data sources with replicated data means a bigger scale. So to manage that scale, that's going to take more time. And if you're not doing it right, that's going to take more money. So in the BTP team, we try to focus on solutions which help the employees of our customers replace time-consuming or repetitive tasks with BTP processes, which will allow them to spend their time doing more decision-based tasks, or as our CEO says, big brain tasks. I want to talk about the consistency and agility. Can you go to the next slide?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So yeah, when you talk about consistency, agility, scalability, I tend to view BTP in 3 pillars. SAP, I'll tell you 5. I dumb it down to 3. Those are on the right there. I'm not going to read them to you because you all got eyes. Basically, integrations. There's data in multiple places. making sure BTP is a system of record and it's the same data going back and forth. You don't have replication issues where 41 accounts in one system, 42 in the other. You come across big problems. Automations, whether that's AI through something like Joule or bots that either are created or SAP delivers, replacing time-consuming tasks people are doing with their fingers with automation to freeze them up. And then the most important to me is custom screens, custom apps, custom portals, making the system work better for you, future-proofing these systems, getting screens on BTP or outside of BTP to avoid extra user fees, to allow external users to access your system without user accounts and without security issues, and extend SAP's ability outside of the out-of-the-box screens to something simple. There might be screens where there's 40 options and you have a drop-down to choose the company code, and you got to do that drop-down every time because it's a required field, and you only have one company code. It's pointless. With BTP, make a new screen. Don't have that field there. Don't make that required. That'll save, even that click to drop down and choose the one and only one company code takes 2 seconds, but 2 seconds times 50 times a day times, 25-year career, these add up. So really look at better solutions on how to improve your company's throughput.
Absolutely. Sometimes our days seem like they're measured in clicks, right?
Right. Exactly. So hopefully
let's dive a little bit more into that scalability that you mentioned. Being able to grow with systems, being able to innovate. Like you mentioned, clients want to grow, right? They want to get bigger. They want to get better. How does BTP do that? How does BTP ensure that they have the flexibility in their system now, but they don't lose that control when they're migrating, when they're moving to those future systems like S4?
Yeah, which you saw in the last slide there, BTP does not sit in your SAP system. It sits outside your SAP system. So the nice thing about that is basically anything with an API can connect to it, especially as your people are moving system to system. We have a lot of our customer on by design, on R3, on ECC. Those systems are sunsetting over the next decade or so. So rather than building custom code solutions in your system now, a lot of our customers are choosing to build things in BTP, knowing that they can migrate it with them. Anything with an API, if you're migrating from by design to S4, R3 to S4, even from SAP to a different ERP, we don't know where this world's going to take us. 10, 12 years down the line, you might want to leave SAP and go to another system. BTP can actually go with you. Anything with an API with similar ERP style processes, BTP can migrate with you. So rather than investing money into a system that's sunsetting someday, a lot of customers are choosing to take the same investment and putting it into BTP, knowing that no matter where they go, they can take it with them.
Absolutely. And that's so important, right? Because just like you mentioned it, we don't know where things are going to go, but we know for sure what you're using now. If you can take something with you that's not complex customizations, like Taylor mentioned, it's a huge time and money saver, right?
Yeah, and likewise, you on the screen there says governance. That's part of the issue, part of the scalability and migration practice too. If you've got 45 accounts in SAP and 45 accounts in an external system, BTP can become the system of record. It's an asynchronous link to SAP with the same accounts, the same data, the same numbers, the same finances. But as you migrate and change system to system, BTP rather than SAP can work as the system of record for core data. So as you build a new SAP system, BTP can backfill and ensure the data consistency that your new system has the same data your old system did. You can kind of do sanity checks.
Amazing. So important. Especially with multiple integrations. That is such a big challenge for a lot of clients, making sure that data was unified, making sure that it wasn't sitting in silos or with, one person on a team knew certain information while another knew different information, because you need to have the same information, the same processes, right?
Exactly. And then additionally, we're talking about scalability. I kind of skipped over the other thing I wanted to say. Some of the processes in BTP, we've got a lot of levers to pull as well, which is nice in terms of cost and effectiveness and so forth. So some of our, say, data processes are charged by the process. So we can make them very inexpensive to start. So as you scale up, you're starting cheap. So it's really inexpensive to start now. Likewise, we have people who have a big process, but they want to get it set on a legacy system or a system they're just starting in. We can set up fixed rates now, so as they grow, They're just paying the one fixed rate. So there's a lot of levers as well as you talk about scalability in terms of how do we want to pay for this? I have customers tell me what you need, sit down, and I'll talk about how to make this work for you. Do you want to pay a little now? Do you want to fix it in so you don't incur large costs later? That sit down with, hey, Ben, here's my problem. Here's what we can do for you is a really key component to this BTP because I'm not delivering SAP solutions today. I'm delivering future problems tomorrow. When our customers sit down and talk to me, we really, the most important thing, what's your problem? How can I fix you? Or how can I fix it for you? We've got a pre-built catalog of our most popular solutions, which a lot of you on the phone have already seen. If you haven't, reach out to your CSM, reach out to me directly. We'll show you what a lot of your other people in the same industry as you in the same system of you are doing to make their process better. But for those who have seen it, I don't want to waste your time. So can I just brag about a couple things that are new and different in the BTP world and things my team's doing that people on the phone haven't seen yet?
Absolutely. You can take us wherever you want to go.
Yeah, I had a couple slides here. So this is kind of the coolest new thing we got. We had a customer come and said, hey, Ben, we want to do time entry. We don't do time entry within SAP. We do time entry within ADP, but we don't have we do our payroll and HR through ADP, but we don't have time entry there. And they want to charge us a bunch of money for it. They went back to SAP. SAP said, great, we'll sell you success factors. For those who have success factors on the phone, it's a very expensive solution. The customer says, I don't need success factors. I just need time entry. So we built this solution with the BTP. It's super flexible. It can sit in BTP or outside of it. It's a punch clock. You can punch clock to a task. We have a manufacturing customer who's using it. They wanted to track time to a task. They can do that. We have another customer that said, oh, I just want to know when my employees are billable. So it just tracks time to the employee. We have another customer who said, I just want to know when people punch in and out. And then from this, the data, it's flexible again. We can put it back into SAP for approvals. We can take this and pass it into ADP for payroll and billing if we don't need to have approvals. We've got customers who want reporting off this. We want customers who want this tied back to projects within SAP. It's really flexible on what it can do. And the nice thing about this is the first customer that came to us and wanted it said, hey, I've got 100 people on my shop floor, and I don't want them to have SAP licenses. That's expensive too. For the BTP, the data and the users sit on BTP, not in your SAP system. So they don't need user licenses. You can do all this without adding any users to your system. And it can be used internally and externally. We have some people say, I want my consultants who are not employees, who don't have user accounts, who don't want access to my SAP system. I want them to have access to this too. No problem. It's all very flexible. You come to us, you tell us what the problem is. This was built by one of my top developers, Rob Patterson. He's on the phone here. Tell him what your issues are. Tell me what your issues are. BTP is not SAP legacy. It's not, this is the screen you get. This is the program you get. I'm bound by the SDK or the ABAP or the programs we have access to. It's, what can we do for you? And something like this, it might be taking a little money out of SAP's pocket for success factors, but we've got a lot of happy customers.
Yeah, imagine how much time you can save, right? With something custom like this. And then as you grow, you bring it with you. As you get more employees, you simply add them in.
Yep.
Seems like a great time saver and probably something that some clients, you recognize it as a challenge. It's taking a lot of time. It might be manual. Reporting for sure is affected by if someone doesn't have their time in accurately, right? So this is a great example on how this could work for so many clients, so many industries.
Yeah, this one's a great.
We have one more example too for you, right?
This one's a great money saver. The next one's a great time saver. We've got
wonderful.
We're going to be using this internally at VistaView too. Explain this. Everybody on the phone here, you get SOWs from VistaView. They all look the same. Then that goes to our admin team who has to comb through that document and type everything up. We made a DocuSign integration, and this was made by another great developer who's on the call, Dennis Blumkin, and we'll give it claps to him. I don't know if it lets you do emoticons or whatever. You get the same SOW. You can take the data out of a DocuSign document, customer name, customer number, the lines of the SOW in the case we built for building it for ourselves. And that goes into SAP and pre-populates a project. What used to take one of our admin people, I don't know, minutes, hours to look back and forth on two different screens and type up what they see on one screen and copy paste Now you just push a button and in this case, all your documents in DocuSign go to the appropriate fields within SAP without the needs of anybody doing any work. BTP just operates as the middleware and it just goes in there for approvals. And likewise, you can also do this where your SAP data can pre-populate DocuSign documents. And this is, again, I'm not here to sell you a time entry scene. I'm not here to sell you a DocuSign. I'm not here to sell you anything. What I'm saying is this is the outside the box thinking that BTP allows us to do. This is stuff we could never do with ByDesign, B1, ECC, S4 out of the box. It's a matter of what are your needs? What's taking you time? And we looked around internally and said, man, we're spending a lot of time just typing things up and we're making mistakes sometimes because human beings doing it. How can we make this more accurate, cost less, save time, and allow our employees to, deep dive into bigger things and better things for them than just data entry? So, think about what systems you use inside SAP, outside SAP, what you connect to, and how could this work better? And if you don't know, I got nothing better to do. Throw me on a meeting invite. Let's talk about it. Tell me what you do, and I might come up with nothing, but we might come up with something really cool, just like this.
And that goes to show, right? It used to be DocuSign itself. What an amazing automation option, right? You no longer had to scan a document, send a document. They would print it, rescan it back with a signature. Now, the future of DocuSign is having to touch so little. A couple of clicks, everything's in, signed, approved. You can get on with your work. The customer gets projects delivered faster. Yeah. Our team has more minutes back in their day. It's really amazing the things that are coming about with all of this new technology.
Yeah, you could use this for anything, customer entry, order entry, whatever you need. I mean, the sky's the limit. It's basically just a free form.
Thanks, Ben. Wen Ling, our S4 expert. Taylor, I'm going to direct a little bit of this question to you too, since you're in the S4 space of things also. Between you and Wen Ling, you've worked the gamut of ERP systems, and now you're in the next gen. The future of ERP. It's really addressing challenges before they become challenges. So that means some of these key challenges that clients are seeing right now, that we're seeing internally right now, will be a thing of the past using the next gen of SAP, S4, or cloud ERP. Taylor, give me a little bit of your expertise, a little summary on your past, present, the future, what performance looks like for clients, and what we think the benefits of really ensuring that you're up to date and that we understand what your pain points are and how those could be no longer a challenge at all in something like S4.
Yeah. So, and I've seen this across the board, and I saw it myself as a customer working with version 2007A. You imagine selling little carpet samples. You've got a lot that are being ordered. So performance in terms of SAP Business One maxes out at around 600 lines or so, and you start to see significant performance delays. And moreover, most customers, like I said, I started out on version 2007A. Most customers have been with Business One 5-10 years. And if you've got between 50 and 100 lines on an order, times 5 years, and you're doing more than 100 orders per day, or even 50, you're going to see performance delays. And this can range from let's say, this goes back to customizations, actually. If you've got customized reports and you're having the system sift through all of that data over all of those years, users are getting kicked out. I had one customer who every time they were trying to run one of their customized queries, they've now gone to S4, but running one of their customized queries, it would kick them out. And so in terms of performance, it's really difficult when you're working with a significant amount of data over a long period of time to, especially with customizations, to get the information that you want and to get it quickly. And what I'm seeing with S4, so I just started working with S4. I'm on 2 implementations, and it's wild how quickly you can get that information. Um, just the speed in which that data is coming back to you. And even with HANA, I remember when HANA was a big thing, right? In-memory database. And S4 it's just a stark contrast. And especially now with AI and we're going to be collecting more data. Companies will be collecting more data. Your company will be collecting more data if you want to keep up with how the market is changing. And where are you going to store that data? And again, you're going to need the ability to store that new data because AI is going to be bringing in so much more information. So in terms of where that's going, obviously AI is collecting more data. Your companies will need the ability to store it and to query it quickly and efficiently and have multiple users doing that all at once across different business areas.
Absolutely. Wen-Ling, how about some insights from you? Dive a little bit deeper on some of those, even the simplest example that Taylor gave regarding, large sales orders.
Yeah, definitely. I personally work on SAP Business One and by design products before in my previous year here with VistaView. So I couldn't echo more on what Taylor has mentioned. Business One definitely has some limitation on, the capability to process large volume of data in the transaction or running queries on reports because the Business One's database is sitting on, like a multi-table structure, so it's hard to create the data with the table combination, and it takes time and it burns performance. Even with by design, even though it's a cloud platform, but then I think the by design in memory database is not as stronger or powerful as for HANA public cloud. So when we try to process large volume of data, I have a customer telling me that they have a sales order with orders just 200 lines. When they try to add a new line in the order, it always spins and stay on the screen spinning for hours, and it just never come back. Now, I personally test some of the S4 performance case before earlier last month, and then I was able to just populate more than 700 lines in the sales order in the Excel file, and then use the Excel upload features available out of the box in S4 HANA Public Cloud to upload that file. It takes about 1 or 2 minutes. Boom, I get a big sales order with the 700 line item in it with all the data put in the Excel. It's so fast that it amazed me immediately. I said, wow, that's game changing because with customers doing, retails or, small item orders, wholesale distributions, that's a big requirement to be able to handle, more than say 500 lines in order. So I think that's the biggest, challenges that I think they can solve for the customers, having some issues with their current ERP system now. And also, I also want to mention that with the AI tools, I probably want to relate it to this later as well. The AI tool also help us to upload information from, PDF files and images into the system. And then with the upload, it scans through all the data in the file and then populate information for you in just 1 or 2 minutes to create the order. That's very fast too, because typically, you create an order, you will match what you have on the screen, you type it in, you key it in, and it depends on how the system reacts to you. It might take you maybe, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or even 10 minutes if you type in a big order. So thinking of how that can save your time, it save you more than 10 minutes per order. If you're thinking about 1,000 orders a year, that is, tens of thousands of minutes or hours that you can save from your daily life to do other things that you want to do.
Oh yeah, and Wen-Ling, to that point, I had another customer that with the delays, we were calculating how long it was taking them. The amount of money being lost just with everything freezing and everyone entering information, and then even trying to do like printing, right? Because think about that, the amount of time it takes to enter all of the lines, then to print or do a print preview, and then you're doing, let's say, 50 of those, and you've got 5 to 10 people. Insane, the amount of money being lost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
I think that's great benefits, from the simplified data structure that S/4HANA has, because, the traditional ERP data structure is relying on multiple tables. Each table stores
Right.
a particular data set. But in S/4HANA public cloud, they has this unified data table structure where they store tons of data in one big table, which eliminates the needs for index, for consolidated data in multiple tables, so that you get faster data queries results from the systems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you don't have to worry about outgrowing it. You're growing into it, right? And saving that time during the day. Doesn't everybody want back 10, 15, 20 minutes per day? How many more clients you can speak to, how many more orders you can take.
Well, and then I'm sorry, the other thing too, to that point, in terms of scalability, but S4 pushes their own upgrades, right? Wendling, I mean, that's coming out to you.
S4 pushes
You're
the
not
upgrades
having to
twice a
worry
year.
about that. You're not having to worry about that at all. Wherein before you had to schedule an upgrade, check with the add-on partners. Is the add-on partner ready for the S4 just pushes them out to you. That
Yes,
blew my
definitely.
mind when I started training. I was like, what?
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think
That's a
in the
big difference,
traditional
right?
ERP, customers often get into issues where either performance or, the software get out of support, so that they have to manually upgrade the project, the system to the newer version, so that it get in compliance with the newer, systems rules, or it get better performance with the new features that, the software bring in the upgrades. But that's for HANA Cloud, it would automatically upgrade twice a year. Whether you like it or not, SAP will push the upgrade out, and then they of course they will do the regression testing. They will do tons of testing, make sure that upgrade doesn't impact your life day-to-day activities. But once you get the upgrade, if you see new features from the upgrade, you like it, you can just turn it on very quickly.
Which is fantastic. It's in terms of scalability, that is something you don't have to worry about as a company.
Yeah,
at all, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And with Ben's solution, your customizations are rolled right into it. You don't have to spend that extra time in upgrading those customizations and those add-ons.
Exactly.
Huge time saver, huge challenge, recognized, across the board for so many things.
Yeah.
So now I know we mentioned this a little bit earlier. Taylor spoke to us a little bit on what intercompanies looked like and how legacy traditional ERP systems didn't have the best solution. So many clients were having to have some sort of custom something, some sort of custom integration configuration built to deal with intercompany processes. Now, we've seen a lot of this in 2025 with the changing economy and the way that we've kind of had to manage things. Wenling, speak to us a little bit about what this looks like in S4 and how it's really no longer a challenge.
Yeah, so the example that Taylor gave, you have multiple legal entities or companies in your organization, but you have different, data sitting in different, database or different systems where they don't talk to each other very easily, right? You have to find solutions, building add-ons, customizations to get the data connect to each other. But in S/4HANA Public Cloud, natively, they have a fully supported intercompany scenario, not one, but many intercompany scenario supports the seamless coordination between your affiliated companies, such as when your local sales employees place an order, it needs to be fulfilled by another subsidiary companies. Those processes are fully supported and within one system that enables us to give you a better visibility of all the whole process end to end. And then you can also get the intercompany elimination streamlined within the system as well. So Shannon, if you go to the next slide, I think I prepared an example of an intercompany scenarios that was delivered out of the box in S/4HANA Public Cloud. So if you look at this chart, this is a very nice chart to illustrate this scenario. This is called advanced intercompany sales. So the scenario is, you have a company that sells a product to your end customer, but the product is fulfilled by your sister company. So your company code 17110 is the company that's selling the product to the external customers, but your sister company, which is a delivery company, is the company code 110110, right? So when, if you look at the, bullet point number 1 there, when the order comes in from your end customer, your selling company is creating the sales orders, which is a standard sales order in bullet point 2 to represent the contract with your end customer. At the timing of the sales order creation, the system automatically creates an intercompany purchase order to your sister company, which is delivery company, for that buying action. And then your sister company automatically gets an intercompany sales order credited automatically from the system, indicating the selling of it to your sister company 17110, right? And at the time that your sister company, delivering company 110 fulfill the order, they ship the item, you will see the intercompany, stock transfer activities coming up. And that intercompany transfer activities is, transparent. You can track the status to see where you are, what is the status, whether it has left your delivery company and in transit to your end customer, or whether it has arrived at your end customer site. When that arrived at your end customer site, if you look at bullet point number 7 there, you will be able, as a selling company, you'll be able to confirm the arriving date of that goods at your end customer site with a notice from your sister company. And then at that time, you can then create a formal outbound delivery from your selling company to illustrate the delivery document to the customer. And then that delivery activity has been completed and it is always tracked within the system. And of course, when you do the billings to the end customer, the intercompany, supply invoice and intercompany customer invoice will be automatically created for you as well in the system, so that you don't need to worry about, this joint side on the finance side on this whole processes. So this is just an example, illustrate this, intercompany sales scenario. This is not the only scenario that we support in S/4HANA Public Cloud. We have intercompany stock transfers. We have intercompany, finance posting as well. So if you want to learn more, feel free to reach out to us, and then we can, help you analyze your situation and see which processes best fits for you.
Thanks, Wenli. It's pretty amazing that, with the advancements in technologies, now that you have this, it's going to really alleviate a lot of manual things being done, a lot of Excel spreadsheets on the side of your desk and reporting, right?
Yeah.
So Wenli, now, not in our top list of challenges, and in all honesty, it may not be in anyone's top 3 challenges, but AI, it's a buzzword. It's in most technology blogs, articles that you're reading. It's mentioned in some way. To me, I think it's a little bit of a sleeping challenge, because I think that one of the largest challenges that it will hit on and that it will help to mitigate is truly a big challenge that people have stopped thinking is a challenge at all, because it's become so normal. And that challenge is, how do I get more hours out of my day? How can I relegate simplified tasks, simple reportings, repeatable tasks to be done by the system and not by me?
Yeah,
frees
definitely.
up infinite time every day. Tell us a little bit about AI, Wenli.
Yeah, I think, AI has been, one of the hot topics in the past few years, and it grows, every year. And this year, I think SAP does release a lot of AI automations within the systems to help, save time, right? Because a lot of these repetitive tasks, like you have to open multiple screens to work on things for the different purposes, you can tell AI how to do things. For example, a customer asks, I want to update the price for the sales for 10%. How do I do that? Well, they might need to dig into different browsers and then learn how to do that. But with AI, you can just give AI the natural language instruction. Hey, AI, or do update, this price list by 10% for next year. And then AI would does all the job for you. So you don't have to open the screen. You don't have to click on things to, make changes. Just tell AI what you want to do. AI does the job for you. That saves you tons of times, for the task, so that you can spend the time smart on the other tasks that you need to do.
Oh, and then Wenli, I'm sorry, can I just to add on to that, user training, which I had mentioned before, when you did that demo for me, and something I've seen customers talk about is the ability to have someone onboarded, and for them, or if you forget how to do something, how Joule walks you through how to do it. And just the onboarding process, I mean, that to me is really significant. And you think like even a smaller company where, you know, you've got one person who knows something, companies really don't have to worry so much about if this person leaves, we don't know what the process is anymore. You've got this walkthrough. I mean, that again, my mind was blown.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries, that you bring up a good point, because AI provides a lot of information because we have all the data stored in the system, and you know, and also help information as well. So you just think of, you always have a little helper there that can provide you with, you know, directions, information that you need anytime you need, right? Sometimes in the past, when we try to see how to solve a problem, we need to know, hey, I'm stuck. How do I, you know, get into, you know, solutioning that problem, or how do I find a solution on solving the issues? But now with AI will tell you, hey, this is the error related to this issue, and this is the proposed recommendation to solve this issue. So you can review those right away on the screen, and you can either take, you know, AI's recommendation, or you can click on the help link from the AI provide to you, and then we can read through those help links and then make a decisions from there. So it's very, you know, saving time, efforts for you to, you know, go out of the system to search a lot of, you know, Google search, wildcard search that is not wrong for the system, but you can do search within the system, and the system give you more relevant information to save your data time.
Absolutely, and it's always learning, so it's always going to get better.
Yeah. And so I do prepare some, you know, videos that Shannon can share with the team here later to watch some newer AI automation processes. So please watch those. It's so fantastic to see how AI can help you day to day to automate the process quicker.
Absolutely. We'll be sharing those out in our post-webinar packets.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all. Your expertise and your experience is what drives us. It allows us to help customers on their ERP journey. And now that we've given you so much information, we've tried to address our top challenges, give expert advice. I know you're all thinking, what's next? What's my next step now that I have this information? And that next step is allowing us to help you run great. Allow us to do an ERP assessment or a migration assessment. This will let us navigate you through what you're using now in an ERP assessment, for example, how you're utilizing the system, what are your common processes, what technology are you using, identifying those gaps, those pain points, those challenges that we can help alleviate right now in your day-to-day. Or we can do a migration assessment. Maybe you're ready to make that jump with our team to S4. We're here to help. We want to assess what you're doing now and how that can translate into S4, which we all know and we've seen now is the future of ERP. It's going to alleviate some of these base challenges right out of the box. You won't even need to think about it because they just won't exist anymore. So now we are running to end of time, so I apologize if we didn't get to address questions in our chat, but we will certainly address those one-on-one post-webinar, I promise. I do want to know some of your guys' feedback on everything that we've talked about, and also some of the myths, questions, concerns you guys have surrounding S4 Cloud ERP. Sonia, our moderator, is going to pop up a poll for you. It's going to ask you a little bit of information on what you're thinking about S4, because our episode number 4, hosted next month by my colleague and one of our strategic account managers, Nick Buderoff, is going to help bust these myths. It's going to help us demystify and answer questions surrounding S4 so that you can truly understand what your ERP journey could look like for the future and how VistaView and our team can help you get there. Sonia, Taylor, hopefully people are answering our poll.
Yes.
Yeah, responses are coming in. Thank you, Shannon.
Wonderful. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate all of your feedback so much, and we really want to help you on whatever your ERP journey might look like. Maybe you just need help making sure that you have a better performing system. We can do that with you. We can get Ben, we can get Taylor. We have a whole host of experts here with years and years of experience and we can help to address those challenges for you now as well as in your future.